So party, welcome to my YouTube channel and happy birthday to me. Yay. Well, kinda, my birthday was yesterday. This is the third time I've celebrated kinda my birth on this YouTube channel, which is weird because I've had this YouTube channel for 2 years, but I've celebrated like 3 birthdays, so it's not mathing, but it's mathing. But what makes it different to the previous 2 years is that this is my first non-teen birthday. I turned 20.
You're 20?
I feel old. For this video, I'm going to be talking about 20 things I learned while I was in my teens, so that maybe any teenagers watching can get some sort of wisdom as I enter into my elderly but good-looking grandma phase. If you have any other things you learned in your teenhood age, please feel free to let them down there. But before we get onto this video, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on my post notifications so you're notified when next I upload a video. I upload videos on Sundays with the occasional Saturday, but my schedule might be a little here and there, so you want to make sure that my notifications will turn on. Comment down below anything at yeah, we have a lot to talk about because I was a weird kid. The first thing I wrote down, and the first thing that like stuck to me when I was thinking about stuff that I learned in my teen, and this is gonna sound very cliche, do what makes you happy, and this goes for literally anything. When I was a kid, and still now, like even right now, I did a couple of things that in hindsight were extremely cringy. The things I have fanned over, even like making art and drawing, playing the guitar, all of my hobbies were things that I did purely because they made me happy. And a lot of those things were cringy at the time, but I don't regret any single bit of what I've done that made me happy, like at all. Out of not being ashamed of doing the things that make me happy have spurred so many like good memories, good skills, a lot more positives than negatives. And I'm not saying that I just like did whatever I wanted, not at all. I felt peer pressure immensely, I did. But of the few things that I still did anyway, I don't have any doubts. The second thing that I learned in my 20s is that you can learn anything. You just have to believe that you can learn anything first. Just knowing that when you put your mind to anything and you have that discipline and stuff, you can learn anything. If you want to learn Mandarin, you can. It's not just because they have a special skill to learn it, but it's because they just went and learned it. Obviously things take time, but if you believe, you can. Like for example, I for the most part taught myself guitar. I wasn't intimidated like, oh, I'm never gonna be the best guitar player or whatever. No, I just did it because I was like, I want to learn guitar, and I did it. The third one, which is gonna be kind of controversial, I guess. The third one is don't do anything to your body before you're an adult. I'm gonna sound like a granny, I'm gonna sound like an auntie, I understand. There is a reason why some certain stuff are advised against. I really suggest, instead of trying to conform with your peers, I think reconsider. That goes for other stuff like dieting. I highly advise against, unless in under specific conditions, but I really do think stuff like that is advised against. In terms of like substance abuse or like being restrictive with yourself, it will have a lot more negative effects, especially the second part if you're doing it by yourself and not like under supervision. The fourth thing I learned in my teens is don't change to impress other people. Teenagers suck. Teenagers are horrible people. The pressure to like conform so you're not like singled out is like huge. I was in that window, so I also sucked during that time. Going into university, I realized I don't care anymore personally. Like when I'm walking to class, I'm not thinking, do people think I dress weird or whatever. I don't think about that. It's really fulfilling knowing that I don't care as much. When you try and impress others by like changing yourself, then you lose yourself. Who wants to be with people that will only accept you if you act a way that you're not? Like you find a lot more peace just staying who you are, blocking out the haters, then changing and being like uncomfortable. And yes, people might talk if you like change, like do a 180 and you're just studying yourself. But who are those people? If it's not Beyonce, don't care. And the fifth thing I learned in my teens, being popular literally does not matter. I think it's much better to just be with a group of people who like you for you and you can laugh with easily. Then you've struck gold. Sixth thing I learned in my teens is mental health is super important and it affects everything. I had to learn this the hard way. You can't neglect it. It will affect every single sphere of your life. So if you're able to get help, I highly recommend you do. The seventh thing I learned The seventh thing I learned in my teens is there are two very important skills to master when you are young: saving money and time management. Start practicing that, start reading up on those two things, and you will thank me later. Number 8 is there's always time for a second chance. The one thing that keeps me like a bit more calm is being like, it's okay, if I don't get it the first time, I can always try again, or again and again. There's always another path, you know, it's never just like the end of the road. And the ninth thing that I learned, which ties into the second thing that I learned, is that learning is so fun. That's because learning actually is so many different things. It's learning about the world, but not just through like your geography textbooks, but like, you know, going to different places, and also like finding random facts or like random niche topics. It's about learning how to play a single instrument, learning how to make this type of cookie, learning how to make some sick beats. Learning is really fun, and when you find out like how fun it is, oh, it makes life so much more, you know, enjoyable. The 10th thing that I learned is that there is so much world to see. Actually, I didn't even like go overseas for university, but there are so many more like things that I didn't even know existed in South Africa or near me or whatever. So many different people that I've met. I didn't realize there was so much more to see, and there's so many different like intricacies in each place that I've been to or each topic. The 11th thing I learned in my teens is that it is free to be nice. Just genuine kindness to everybody, regardless of their status or their identity or whatever. It goes a long way, because we're all humans, you know, going through this weird thing called life on this quirky rock called Earth. Let's be nice, guys. Okay, don't be a nice guy, oh my gosh, but be nice, comma, guys. 12th thing that I learned in my 20s is that it is important to be friends with those people that you can genuinely laugh with and who align with your morals. I think those type of people, they're hard to find, but once you find them, you know, hold on tight to them. The 13th thing that I learned in my teens is that it is necessary to make boundaries, and I still struggle with this. Boundary making is like a topic that's become a lot more popular in recent times, especially like on social media. But it is an important skill to have and an important thing to do. Without boundaries, people don't know your limits and they can take advantage of you. You don't know your limits and you can take advantage of yourself. It's okay to say no. It might be awkward in the moment, but it's okay. I think it's necessary to preserve yourself and others. The 14th thing that I learned in my teens is to listen to your elders. Their stories are the most interesting and filled with wisdom. They've all lived through what you have. The 5th thing that I learned in my teens is life is not a race, so do not compare your progress to other people. I have such an outside look on someone else's life, so I actually don't know the reality. We're going through different life paths. My experiences and where I'm leading is not the same as someone else, and that goes with you. This light is so bright, so I have to squint. Can I just like have a break and like close my eyes? So the 16th lesson that I learned in my teens is to not compromise your values under peer pressure or anything in general. Having that strength to be like, you know what, even if everybody around me is doing this, I still won't do it because I don't believe it's right for me to do. At the end of the day, if you're going to do something, don't do something because it's influenced by people around you in the sense of like peer pressure or pressure to conform or whatever. Number 17, there is power in having a made bed. This is a little thing for me. I don't know if it works for everybody else. If my bed is messy, if my room is messy, I have a messy mind. If you ever feel like really stressed and you're in your room and it's quite messy, make your bed, because it's like the biggest thing in your room. So if you see something organized, like the biggest thing organized, then you're gonna be like, okay, it's not that bad. Number 18, it is always one step at a time. I don't know, whenever I stress, it's because I always think of like I have to complete something huge like at once, when I don't realize that like there are certain like steps that are very doable. The 19th thing that I learned in my teens is that motivation is super unsustainable. Discipline, habit making, and consistency is key. You know, having motivational quotes and stuff is like good, you know, it can help you get that initial push, but surviving on motivation alone is just not sustainable. It doesn't really get you going, because there will come a point when you're not motivated anymore and that quote will mean nothing to you. But when you have discipline and when you have a habit, that's one of the most important things. If you make it into a habit and you're consistent with it, then you're able to achieve whatever you want to achieve. That consistency, because you're doing it repetitively, gets you closer toward your goal than just having motivation where you get highly motivated at one point then you stop. And habit making is another skill that I think is good to learn. You can do things without a lot of mental work, and a lot of times mental work can be taxing and will prevent you from doing things. And the last thing that I learned in my 20s, tomorrow always comes. Because whenever there's something that's daunting, I always think tomorrow is gonna come soon and it's gonna be over and I'm just gonna be living my life, or next week is gonna come and I'm just gonna be living my life. I'll be having the time of my life. Tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and it will be another day. There's always an after, there's always a next chapter, next page. The sun always rises the next day. There has never been a day where tomorrow never came. Those are the 20 things that I learned in my teenage years. It was a little bit more chill today. Comment down below your favorite ice cream flavor. This is a very controversial topic, so I will be judging you. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, like. If you like me, subscribe. Comment down below, all that fun jazz. And until then.